anything?
What?
Smell. If you need any Fruit Loops or something like that while you're...
Okay. Testing. Excellent. Thank you so much. All right. Good morning. To my mind, right now, this is our Super Bowl. Win or lose, it's ours. Now the Emma says there's no such thing as when it comes to there's no such thing as a small victory. There's no such thing. Everything that we're going to accomplish, that we do, has an effect. If you think here, I'm going to show you something, and you're going to believe, and you're going to see it, it's going to change everything, right? You're wrong. Klal Yisrael saw it, and they still did the Egel. But every little thing makes such a big difference. Every little victory. Now, what I'm going to share with you, I'm sharing with you from my personal journey. I'm not coming as an expert. Most of it I've learned from Rabbanim, or Victor Miller Zatzal, or Daniel Mechanic, Shliter of Zev Lev, Shliter of Mordechai Norgoshol, Lawrence Kellerman. But everybody has their own personal journey, their own questions, their own difficulties. Everything matters, plus and minus. And every little thing that you do is going to have an effect, a ripple effect, not only on the things that you do later and the decisions you make later, but on decisions your kids make, your grandkids. So there's nothing small either. And if all I do is there'll be one time you'll have a very difficult decision, a very difficult test. And in the back of your mind, you might have said, but who says it's all true? And you remember even a few minutes of any part of what we say today, and you say, wait a minute. It's not so simple. Because let's be real. How many people here have properly researched this like they've researched anything else? How many people have spent as much time trying to figure out whether what we're doing here has meaning as they have, for example, trying to beat some video game or find a good hack to win the fantasy football league? Most of us, we're quoting a thing here and quoting a thing there. So if all I get here is that you recognize either that you haven't done that, and if you see 1, 2, 3, 4 things you never heard before today, either it stops you from doing that thing you were going to do, or it gets you to the process of going on your own journey, which you're supposed to do, and getting it clear. That's winning the Super Bowl today. I want to thank Azariah for helping me out. Now, Ariadne Mosamoda, although I did set up the slideshow here to, I know your attention span here is a little, I asked Azariah to spruce it up, because just to make it interesting. Yes, that's Azariah, yes. Thank you, Azariah. He'll be doing that throughout. And I'll let you know that it's been, the slideshow has been in his hands now for 12 hours. He could have done anything with it that he wants, including switching out that picture, which he did. Mine wasn't that good, the one I picked. He has a very, very small online presence, just to let you know. Which is pretty good, pretty smart when you're going to be going to interviews and, or, just going out and keep a small online presence, just to be smart. Okay. Okay, so this is the proof speech. That's what I call it. So, why do you need to have proof? Why can't it just be faith? Come on. Right? Now this is not a small point. I want you to understand this. Right? What is the greatest night of Jewish education? We're on Pesach. Which night? First night by the Seder. What is the highlight of the Seder, besides the funny stuff at the end? Ma Nishtana. The greatest night of our passing on, what we're all about. What is Judaism? And we tell our kids to question everything. Question how we set the table. Question what we're eating. Question how we lean. That's Masorah? I'll tell you what, if I was writing it, here's the story. Shut up, kid. Don't ask questions. Believe. We train you guys in Gemara to analytically think. For all the guys, I hate Gemara, I don't like Gemara, right? The reason why the Jews do so good on the LSATs, the reason why is, they have here after high school with no English education, they go take a few months course and they beat out everybody else. Because when you learn Gemara, all you care about is finding the truth. And if we don't have it, the Gemara ends teku. It doesn't have a problem. It wants the truth more than anything. But if it doesn't have it, it says, I don't have it. We say, question us. Because if I don't know it, I need to know it. The guy who they translated in Christianity, it was only the priests who had access to the Bible. The guy who translated it to make it available for the masses, they killed him. Just believe. But you'll still say, no. Why can't it just be faith? Because you're going to ask me the question, right? Let it just be faith. How can you know? So I tell you, if there's a thing called right and wrong, if this is real, then there's a reward and punishment. And if there's a reward and punishment, the truth needs to be discernible. How can I show you that it has to be discernible? That it can't just be, I got from my parents. How can I do that?
افتح الوقت سمع بالوام شوف كم قتلى شوف كم قتلت فيديو هذا قتل يهود هاي دخلوا في يابا قاعد اكلمك من جوال يهودية قتلت جوزها 10 فيديو قتلت 10 يابا 10 فيديو قتلت يابا افتح الوقت شوف كم قتلت يابا افتح بدخل عليك وقت بالوام موت
Simple story. That's an Arab taking the phone from the Jewish lady he just killed and calling proudly to his parents how he killed 10 Jews with his bare hands, and calling his mother, aren't you proud of me? Anybody who thinks it's just about, I grew up and I follow what my parents tell me is right and wrong, and I do what they tell me, and that's what it's all about, can't be. It can't be, because there's so many people all over the world in the same place. It has to be more than that. Because if that's all there is, he's going to heaven. Because he followed what his parents told him. And I don't think that's acceptable. And I'll tell you more. You'll tell me, ooh, Avraham Avinu, he had blind faith. Look at the tests he was told. Yitzchak had blind faith. He's told to kill his son. After he's preached for so many years, you're not supposed to do that. Blind faith. Yitzchak, for sure. He didn't hear a prophecy. Let's look at the story. Who goes? Avraham, Yitzchak. Who else? Yishmael, Eliezer, and? No, the donkey. And thank you, Rosaria. No, I actually put that there. I just wanted to make him look silly. It's not. Thank you again. And the donkey. So they get to the mountain. Now remember, Avram doesn't know where he's going. According to the story, he said, at the place I'll show you. And he sees, over here, right here, Har Habayis, he sees a spiritual cloud hovering over the mountain. And he turns to Eliezer and he says, do you see anything? He says, no. Turns to Yishmael, says, do you see anything? He says, no. Turns to the donkey, do you see anything? Says, you guys stay with the donkey. Yitzchak, do you see anything? He says, yeah. I see a cloud of glory. I see the Rebbeinu Shalom. Avraham Avinu had no doubt that the Rebbeinu Shalom spoke to him. They saw the Rebbeinu Shalom there. Yitzchak sees the Rebbeinu Shalom there. The question wasn't whether there was a God and whether or not he told them what he wanted from them. There was a question I don't fully understand the commandment. I don't fully comprehend how it can make sense that I'm supposed to kill my son. But that there is a Rebbeinu Shalom, and that he told me to do it, there was no question. That did not need blind faith. That was a fact in front of them. And guys, you say it every day in davening. Come on, what are we talking about here? You guys, we're talking about faith. We're talking about believing. The words you say every V'yadata hayom. You need to know. Hashem hu Elokim Einod. You need to know. It's all over davening. Okay. So if it's true, I'm telling you there must be evidence, and the evidence is everywhere. I'm telling you it must be something that if you look for the truth, you can find it. So how can I help you get this clarity? What's that? What? Oh, yeah, great. Yeah, if I gave you a personal message from God, Nanach style, you get that under your pillow. If I gave you a personal message to each one of you from God, I can show you was God, that would do it. Yeah. But we'll try our best. We can't do that right now. We'll try our best. So, very cute. Oh, sorry. Actually, I did that too. So, let's get some things straight first. What are we trying to prove? We're trying to prove that there is a God? Oh, come on. That's easy. Look at DNA. DNA is triple coded. Triple coded, that means that in the strand there is a sentence of instructions that starts, and then after the next little piece, another sentence starts, and another one starts. And all three makes the odds, you can see all the great books downstairs, the odds of a human being evolving, there's better that a 747 can be made from a tornado in a junkyard. Okay, science is for Chaim on Wednesday. Sorry, stay in my lane. Got it. Fine. Okay, what are we trying to prove? Fine. Yeah.
This is a Torah scroll. It's carefully housed front and center at every synagogue, and ultimately the core of every Jew's life. If you open it up, you'll find hundreds of columns of expertly handwritten letters.
I'd like to thank Ura for that clip. Anyway, thank you, Azaria, again. That's a good idea. Torah. If we can look at the Chamisha Chumshei Torah behind us, if it's true, then everything else is true. Right? That's all we need to do. If we can prove that Hashem gave us, that this Chamisha Chumshei Torah came from Hashem, it's the word of the Rabbanu Shalom, everything's taken care of. Everything is taken care of. Because, come on, if the Rabbanu Shalom gave us the Torah, that means there is a God, right? That's clear? He gave us a Torah, right? That means He, God, exists. Okay, that also means He's involved in our lives. Oh, it also means that Torah Shabbal Peh is true. Why? Okay, how many people here have purple tefillin? Purple? No? Why not?
That's the Masorah.
Where does it say that?
Somewhere in Torah Shabbal Peh.
In where?
Torah Shabbal Peh.
Torah Shabbal Peh. 1 second. But Torah Shabbat, what does it say? Phylacteries. Good luck with that. Rashi has two. What, you know? If you don't have a Torah Shabbal Peh, the mitzvahs don't make any sense. Shabbos. Okay? You have to rest on Shabbos. Where in the Chumash does it say how to rest? Don't do malacha. What is malacha? Go look it up in the dictionary, how many definitions there are.
Fire.
What?
Fire.
And fire is the one exception that it brings, but the exception to go and explain all the rest of the rules. It's not saying that is all malacha is. Right? It's saying, on the contrary, besides, don't do malacha, lo savar eish. Right? Which teaches you about all the rest of them. So what's melacha? Well, there's a consequence. If it's just for me, I can decide whatever it is. Tell me, don't do work, and whatever I want to do, I do. Except for the fact that then they're going to take me to Bezdin, and they're going to kill me. And I'm going to say, but I thought melacha was just, not going to work. And you're telling me I can't pick an apple from the tree? There's consequences, which means there had to be clarity. And that's all throughout the Torah. There's almost nothing that's explicitly spelled out how to do it, which means there were instructions that had to be with it, or none of it makes sense. I'm not referring to the decrees that were made later. I'm not referring to the disagreements among the sages later. I'm just referring to the explanation when I say Torah Shabbal Peh. It has to be. If the Torah is true, prophecy is true. Torah is full of prophecy, as you had with Rav Thaler. If the Torah is true, there's a real thing called reward and punishment. There's consequences. There's a thing called spirituality, and it matters. The rabbis. How many people have heard, oh, I don't have to listen to the rabbis. You know why? Because in the Holocaust, there were some rabbis who told people not to leave Europe, and they died. You see, rabbis can be wrong. I don't have to listen to them. Anybody here ever heard that argument? To listen to the rabbis? Anybody who makes that argument is so ignorant of Torah. You go to the first page of Shas, the first Mishnah, and there's a machlokas. What's a machlokas? One rabbi telling another rabbi, you're wrong, there's a mistake. Every page in Shas is one rabbi telling another rabbi, you're wrong, and they can't both be right. Rabbis make mistakes. Let's get that very clear. And yet, the Torah presents Hashem as knowing the future and putting the Torah in the hands of the rabbis. Says the Chayei Adam, when he wrote his halacha sefer, he said, I'm doing this because people don't have the time to learn halacha properly, but if you do, don't rely on me. Learn it yourself. Learn how to paskin. Learn how to do the right thing. Don't rely on me. Become a rabbi. But otherwise, you have to rely on the rabbis, and that's okay. Otherwise, we go to Shemayim, and how do I know what Moshe Rabbeinu really said? I follow my Rav. Good? Clear? Okay. Now you're going to have questions now. If all that's true, what about the Holocaust? What about what happened to me? What about what happened to my family? Yeah, good questions. And you need to ask them. But they're academic. I don't mean that to belittle them. But they're if we can prove the Rebbe Shem gave us a Torah, it's a question that's in a different context. Hashem gave us the Torah, and yet look what happened. How does that fit? What's going on? Am I making assumptions along the way? Great. Ask the question, and the answers aren't going to be so easy necessarily. But it's a whole different world. I'm within a world. The Rebbe Shem knows the future the way the Torah presents him. And he's almighty. Nothing beyond him. What's infinity minus 1?
Infinity.
That means the Rebbe Shem has the ability to focus on each one of us 100% fully, and it doesn't take away from his focus on anybody else at any other point in history. He can care about us, each one, 100%. Okay, so, what are we trying to prove? We're going to consider only 2 options. What are the 2 options we're going to consider? Here we go. Option 1. The Torah is a scam written by a man or men. Because make no mistake about it. If the Torah is not the word of Hashem, it is written by evil people. If you write something that says you have to mutilate your child at 8 days old, that you have to go and kill all these animals to say, oh, this should be meat, for some sort of tshuva process. And all the things that we need to do, fasting, putting ourselves in danger, and it didn't happen, these people are evil. It's a scam. So chas v'sholom, say it one time now, but that's the other side. It's not a bunch of nice, good-thinking people that just wanted to give us a framework. They're evil. Scam. Power-hungry people. What's on the other side? The Rebbe Shem. It's God. Are there other possibilities? Aliens, an evil God, some archangel, yeah. Possible. If you want to believe, after we're done today, that there's a God but he hates me, and he's a liar, because in the Torah he presents himself as absolute good, as the one who knows the future, the one who cares about you, who gives you value, who says you all have inherent value no matter what you do. It's wrong for anybody to hurt you. It's wrong for anybody to insult you. You need to be there. You all have value. You don't go and check, oh, what did the person do? Let me see if he had a good chakras this morning to see whether or not I can insult him. Everybody has inherent value, and it's not their fault, but we do. You need to feel amazing about it. If it's all a lie, so then God is lying. You want to believe in a God or a higher power that presents himself as telling the truth and good, but he's lying about it? If that's where we get to, all right. I'm not considering that option, but you're welcome to. All I'm going to do here is deal with option 1. The Torah wasn't written by a man or men. If I get past that, if that's your point of free will and that's what you do, I can't, that's beyond me. I would hope that if we're saying the Torah is true and all the things that we're going to show you and that you've seen and that you will see, you can see it in context. But yeah, those are the only 2 options we're going to consider. All right. So these are the 2 options. Is there a God? Did he give us a Torah? That's it. Okay. What's going to be our standard of proof? Now, to reach knowing, I don't want to say that it's absolute proof, because we don't use absolute proof for anything else in life. Anything. And that's just a straw man argument. It's just not real. Oh, you can't prove it 100%. Yeah, okay. How many people here really know that their parents are their parents? If Thaler did this? No? You all know your parents. How do you know? What? Birth certificate. Yeah, because that's never been forged. Oh, yeah, really. If somebody wanted to? Yeah, so how many people here have done DNA tests to prove that you've all done that, right? So how do you know? Maybe your mom's an alien. She snatched you. Maybe, you switched at birth. Father on the way out from the hospital, and the mom says to him, I heard this, I'm going to tell you the context. He says to him, dear, can you just change the baby? And he runs back in, he switches the baby with a different one. How do you know? Oh, I saw a picture of it coming on. What?
Chances are below zero.
Now, of the last one, today. But it's happened many times in the past. And outside of America, where they don't do it, you're right? And if you pay a little money, you can do anything. And look at the Iran kids, Yemen. It's all about people. So how do you know? And yet, you live with it. All your big decisions. You can't know. We work with what's called the chazaka. We take enough information in that we can assume. There's little decisions. Oh, should I take an umbrella? Is it going to rain? Is it raining? And some guy tells you, no, it's not raining. Do you trust him? Do you not? Has he built up that trust? But the consequence isn't so big, so you don't have to go do a big search. So you go outside. It's raining. You go back in. You get the umbrella. You don't trust the guy anymore. Okay. Bigger decisions. You do more research. Which college? What job? You check out a little more. Who you're going to marry? You do the best you can. In the end, it's from the Rebbeinu Shalom. But check out what's important to you. What are your values? Sure. I would hope you'd put a little bit of, you'd like to get as much knowledge as you can. This is a big thing. But in everything in life, think about the thing that's the most important to you. How much time did you put into researching to find out? Whether it's a good car or a good make. You put 10 minutes on the internet into it. You talk to a few people. The Gemara teaches us to do more. Do research, get all the information before you make a decision. But then, it's up to the Rebbeinu Shalom. Do your best. So we're going to try and find a standard of proof that we do for anything else in life and that we live by and we don't question. That's what we're looking for. That's what we call truth. Okay, so what standard of evidence are we going to use? What should we? I'm not sure what we could use. All right. Thank you, Azariah. Standard of evidence we're going to use is beyond a reasonable doubt, because we kill people with it. That's a good one. That's a pretty high one. Beyond a reasonable doubt. Okay. So again, option 1, the Torah is a scam written by man or men. 2, it's the word of Hashem. Okay? Those are the ones we're going to take seriously. Okay, now, there are 3 things we need to know before we get to the proof. 3 things. Number 1, first thing we need to know is that we're dealing with negative. Number 1. Thank you for illustration. Again, that was really me. Yeah. Okay, number 1, the first thing of the 3 things we need to know before we get to the actual proof, and a lot of these by themselves, people, they bring as proofs themselves, is that all the proofs when we're discussing whether or not the Torah is true, and there's lots of things out there, when everybody, of course, goes to do their own research on their own journey, you're going to find they're all negative proofs. When I say a negative proof, what it means is we're going to make an assumption that the Torah, when it was written, the people who write it want people to accept it. I mean, they were pretty successful. So one of the examples they will give, in the Torah, we have a mitzvah of Shemitah. Now remember, agricultural society, everything revolves around getting the food from there, Comes to the 6th year, and you're scared, says the Torah, don't worry. We're going to give you triple crop. Don't worry. You're going to get triple crop. You're going to get a crop for this year. You'll get for next. You'll get until the 3rd year grows. No problem. Okay. Supernatural promise that a human being's putting into the Torah. What's going to happen the first time you come to a Shemitah and there's no triple crop? The guy says, I'm scared. It's not there. What are they going to do to the guy who told them this is true? Yeah. This one's mine. Yeah? Is he there? Yeah, there he is. Yeah. That's what to do to him. Okay, maybe Skila. So I don't know. This doesn't fit into the 4. Which one do you think is the closest? Sreifa. Oh, good. Good. Sreifa.
It's not Sreifa. You have to drink Sreifa.
Yeah, it's close, but you're the closest one. Cruel and unusual. Okay. Or, I have a friend that this opened his eyes to the possibility. He wasn't religious. I've spoken to him many years, a lawyer in Cleveland. Psukim and Chumash. Psukim say, you're supposed to go 3 times a year to be able to regal. I think it's Parshas Kisisa. 3 times a year. Ola regal, come here. Pesach, Sukkot, Shavuos, not necessarily in that order. Everybody, who goes? All the males. Everyone, no exceptions. Wait a minute. We got enemies. They had plished him then too. They're going to attack. They're going to take our land. They're going to do what they did on October 7th. Don't worry, says the Torah. When you're Ola Regel, no one's going to even want to attack. It's going to come the first year. They come home from the Regel, and everything's destroyed. The wife, kids are gone. Everything's burnt to the ground. And what do they do to the guy who told them this? They kill him. There's no other religion that talks about Olam Hazeh. It's very easy to promise the next world. But to make promises about this world doesn't make any sense that a person would do it. So, there are people who do this, and there's many mitzvahs like this, and they're very good proofs. This is not the proof I'm bringing. I'm giving you examples. And you can do this all day long. These are not like isolated, but they're very good. Wake you up and say, wait a minute, something's different here. Does it make sense that a human being would have written this? Is that reasonable? Okay. Number 2, the next thing that we... Oh, see, actually, that's all me. I just want to wake the people up who are dozing, but it fits in nicely. That's good. Number 2. What's the second thing we need to know? Second thing we need to know is, how old is this Torah scroll? How old is the Chamishi Torah? When I say how old, I'm saying, yeah, you can do the Torah scroll itself. They got about 800 years old, an actual Chamishi Torah. It's actually a Torah scroll that they found. It was mislabeled for years and years and years in a museum in Italy, in Bologna, if I pronounced it right. They made a big deal about it a bunch of years ago. 800 years old, Torah scroll. Dated, everything. But we're not just talking about the scroll itself. We want to know about the actual words. Everything. How far can we trace back a complete set of the, yeah?
At least since the Septuagint.
So Septuagint is when?
2,000 years ago? To 2,900.
What?
2,000 or 2,900?
2,000. A little more. 2,000, says 300 BC, give or take. Septuagint is the Greek translation of the Chumash. Why is this important?
It's recorded.
It's recorded and it's in the hands of the Gentiles. Which means if anybody wants to make a change to it, a bunch of rabbis are sitting around saying, oh, this mitzvah here, it doesn't look like it's working for us, let's just change it. Right? Or, let's put in a prophecy about something that already happened. So I want to go make a change. I'd have to go into the church to do it. Or then it would be the Greek, all of their copies of it. And it's brother, the Chumash actually brings down, that we're told that Moshe Rabbeinu gave a Sefer Torah to every one of the Shvatim. So that no Shavit would say, oh, maybe somebody changed it along the way. Every Shavit had their own personal Sefer Torah given to them by Moshe Rabbeinu. So that teaches us that when you split something up among people, and especially people who don't like each other, that means it's almost impossible to get away with making a change past that point. Because now you have to get everybody else on board. Okay, so we're back 2,300 years. Let's go back further. Right? What about the Dead Sea Scrolls? Okay, the fragments. They change a word here and there. Good. Shomronim. You heard of them, the Samaritans? Yeah? Okay, how far back do they go? Well, they'll tell you they go back to the times of Joshua, right after we came into Eretz Yisrael. Right? There are those history, this back and forth. Was it 400 or 500 years later when they got it? But they got the Masorah from someone. How old is it? Well, Rav Gimel Zatal makes a very nice argument. What does their Chumash consist of? They reject the rabbis. They reject Torah Shemopeh. What do they have? Chamisha Chumshei Torah, where they change, they take out Harabayis, and they put in Har Grizim. But otherwise, it's exactly the same Torah. Stories are the same, Psukim are the same. And they have a garbled version of Yehoshua. Now, why would they have a garbled version of Yehoshua? So Rav Gimel Zatzal said, if they rejected the rabbis, they would never take more prophets. As Shmuel was written, as Shoftim's written, Malach was written, they wouldn't accept it from the rabbis. Which gives a very strong logical argument to say that when what they say happened, that they broke away, times of Joshua, that's why they have a guard, that's what they got. Which means you're standing with a Chamisha Chumshei Torah within 100 years of us coming into Eretz Yisrael. For all those people who have, the Torah was written over lots of time, and then it was. If you look what the proofs they bring, because we found a scroll that has Yirecha Hashem v'Yishmerecha, and the psukim that we give the bracha b'Yirchas Kohanim separate. So it must have evolved. I tell you that the Bible critics, or if you do any research, the dumbest. Everything they say eventually gets overturned. They say there's proof again. But we have a full Chamisha Chumshon going back so far, thousands of years, and it's split among so many people. It would be impossible to change it. Okay. The last thing you need to know before the main proof. Number 3. Let's do a little comparative religion here. And by the way, there are those, Lawrence Kellerman has a great class, that their entire proof of Judaism can be based on just this one point. If you ever want to listen to it, it's a great class. We used to bring him in years ago. Simpletoremember.com, great website. Has a bunch of basic Judaism things. The 7 Wonder speeches there also. So he has something. He has a couple books downstairs also. Permission to believe, permission to receive. He was in a college. He wasn't religious, and he was doing comparative religion study, and he was going through all the origin stories of the religions. When I say origin story, I'm talking about one thing. Every religion, and there have been thousands, between 2,000 and 5,000 religions, all have an origin story. Origin story of when God contacted 1, 2, spoke to somebody and told them, here, this is the secret to life, this is the purpose of life. That's what I mean by origin story. Miracles are a dime a dozen. Everybody has miracles. Torah allows for miracles. You can have things that are faked. I'm talking about the origin story of when God reveals himself, and they all start the same way. God spoke to one person, maybe 2. Let's do a couple examples. Okay, the Mormons. You guys know the Mormons? Yeah, okay. Who knows the story of the Mormons, how they came to be? Joseph Smith. Yeah? Who came to Joseph Smith?
Gabriel.
The angel Gabriel. Now, he was walking in upstate New York, right? He lost his bungalow colony. And the angel Gabriel comes to him and gives him what?
The golden tablets.
Which has on it written the Book of Mormon, but the problem is that it's not in English, it's written in ancient Egyptian. But don't worry. On the side of the road appeared a special pair of glasses that he put on that allowed him to read the Book of Mormon. How many people was that revealed to? Just Joseph Smith. Did anybody else see those glasses? It'd be worth a lot of money, I would think. No. Anybody else see the Book of Mormon? A few people were allowed to feel it under a cloth. He let it. Oh, what happened to Joseph Smith, by the way? They killed him because they caught him messing around. But that's the Book of Mormon. That's it. That's the divine thing. Everybody else is believing his story. Okay? One more. Let's do Islam. Yeah, what's the story? Muhammad? Angel, the Al-Baruch, flying horse, takes him up and gives him the Quran. Okay? Any witnesses? No. Any participants? No. So how does it get people to believe it? A little bit of, well, if you don't take on Islam, we'll kill you. That's persuasive. Okay. That's Islam. Oh, by the way, Islam believes that Jesus was a prophet. So let's move on to Christianity. Okay. What's the story of Christianity? Jesus' resurrection in front of a few swooning women. Or we go back, Peter on his way to Damascus. And an angel appears to him that no one else can see, but they can feel. But that's not the real origin story of Christianity. Well, but that's not when God reveals himself and talks to people, right? I guess Jesus himself said he was God. He talks to people, right? We're talking about a divine revelation where you know it's God speaking to you. And he tells you the secret, tells you what it's all about. What's the origin story, right? So they have that, but that's not their origin story. Because all three of those groups that I just mentioned and many, many others that comprise more than half of the world's, most of the world's population, their origin story is that the Jews were in Egypt, and with prophesied miracles, God saved them. And then they went to Har Sinai, and God spoke to them and made a pact with the entire nation of 600,000 males, women, children, millions of people. That's the origin story. That's in their Bible. The Quran has it also, not word for word. They actually have the Jews being Tachti Sahar, under the mountain, the way the Chazal talk about it. They say that Muhammad was a Shabbos guy. So he would hear things by the table. That's how he has Haman by the Pesach story. You got a little mixed up. But he got some things. So it's in the Quran. And by the way, the Quran, Islam believes Jesus was a prophet. Jesus, Christianity says Torah is true. So just get this straight. More than half the world belongs to a religion that says that Yetzias Mitzrayim happened, that Torah Sinai happened, that Hashem picked us as a chosen nation. Get this. And that it says in the Torah over and over and over and over again that if anybody ever tells you that I changed my mind and you're no longer the chosen nation, kill them. And they build their religion on that. I want to tell you how evil this is. Right? I'll give you an example. Let's say Rav Hanan, Ravina, they come and they make a speech. Hanan gets up. Ravina is sitting here shaking his head, falling asleep. And Hanan says, okay, 2 rules in yeshiva. We need to strengthen things. Let's pick 2 rules. Anyone? Pick 2 rules that we need to strengthen here.
No going to Arab Shuk.
No going to the Arab shuk. You know those things they have there with the sticks? With the little, what's the thing? Anyone has seen this? With the hook on it, they take the things up and down? Yeah, you're out of yeshiva. That means you're in the shuk. Sorry, okay. Okay, no going to the Arab shuk. Ravina actually takes it very seriously. I remember a bunch of years ago, the Shana Bet guy did it. And right in the beginning of the year, good guy. And he threw him out. He's so scared something's going to happen to somebody. You know, nothing's ever happened in the Jewish quarter. But the Arab shuk is a different story. So, okay, no going in the Arab shuk. Let's pick another rule we need to strengthen.
Go to Shachris.
Shachris? Go to Shachris. Okay, here's the thing. Okay, no going through the Arab shuk, and you have to come to Shachris. What are the consequences? If you go through the Arab shuk, slap on the wrist. Slap on the wrist. You're going to have to go and talk to Rav Yoel. Yeah, that's it. Okay, what happens if you miss Shachris? Your life is over. You're not getting into college. No shidduch. You're done. You're done. You got it? You got it? You go through the shuk, slap on the wrist. You miss Shachris, you're done. Finished. Got it? And I'm never going to change the rules. I'm never going to change the consequence. And if anybody else does, it's never going to happen. Got it? Great. Okay? Rav Bina, Rav Chanan go back into their office. Rav Chanan turns to Rav Bina and says, let's change it. So, what do you mean? Let's change it. From now on, if you go through the shuk, your life is over. If you miss Shachris, slap on the wrist. Didn't you say you're not going to change? That's okay. Okay, let's go make another speech and tell. Nope. We're not telling anyone. We'll tell to a few people. They'll trust us, and they'll tell a few others. Well, I understand. We just told everybody. And we said we're never going to change it. That's Christianity. It means I'm going to go up to Shemayim after 120, and they're going to look at me and say, eternal hell and damnation. Well, really? I mean, I did some things wrong, but why? Because you didn't accept Jesus. Who's that? Oh, I forgot to tell you. We changed our mind. We told a couple people. You told the whole nation a forever pact, 100 times in the Torah, forever, forever, forever. Anybody tells you, kill him, change, and then you changed your mind. Does Hashem know the future? I asked this to a priest actually on the plane 30 years ago. I was sitting next to a priest. I had people behind me making the rabbi and priest jokes. So among the things, I waited to the end to start up with him, but I couldn't help it. And you hear all these things. You do your own research. You got to field test it, right? Dig to chaver. So I asked him. You believe in the three, the three, I don't know, Father, Son, Trinity, whatever it is. You know the Jewish mantra, Hashem is one. He goes, yeah, it's one. That's three. So I heard a line from a mechanic. You have one chair and three people standing, and they all sit down. Two people are on the floor. One is not three. All right? He was like, oh, that's a good question. I was like, really? And you prepared you a little better? I asked her, how do you prepare a sermon? Because I just look in the text and I concentrate till I find something meaning. Like, what Jew doesn't start a speech with a question? It's all logical, trying to get to the truth, trying to share the truth. Here, this is all sharing about the Rebbeinu Shalom. That's what we're doing, from a question answer. And by the way, we have the best staff here on the side. Drive them crazy to get to the emes with the right attitude. And if you have an issue outside of the emes that's blocking you, that's okay too. But deal with it. That's real. That's Unisayan. Face it. So, what?
What else did you ask the priest?
Oh, I forgot. You're right. The main thing I asked him. Thank you. Which was, I asked him, I said, God knows the future, right? Okay, and the Torah is the word of God, right? So you say that Hashem forsook us. We are forsaken. We are the suffering nation. And now Hashem chose the Christians, right? But it says in the Bible over and over again that He will never forsake us. Says, oh, it means if you accept it. I said, that's not what it says. It says, as a nation. As a nation, we will never be forsaken. We'll have tough times, but we'll never be forsaken. He goes, I never thought about that. I'm sure that you would think they'd have some seminar where they prepare these people for something, because there isn't an answer. That's what they believe. Okay. You realize how, just one more thing about Christianity. We talk about Torah Shebaal Peh. What is their Torah? You know, we had our incident at the beginning of the year. A couple guys were accosted, by one of these funny guys. I want you to realize what they have here. I have a hint here. Could this prophecy and this has to be right? What do they have? They have a Chumash that is a Greek, English translation of an Old English translation of a Latin translation of a Greek translation of our Chumash that we never said was meant to be taken literally in the first place because we have a Torah Shebaal Peh that explains everything. So when it says there, an eye for an eye, they have a problem with it. How do you explain that? The Torah makes no sense without Torah Shebaal Peh, and they're coming and giving you hints. Oh, this must be him, and this has to be, and can't this be? Do you know that there was hundreds of years of rabbis, people studying the Torah and the prophets before Jesus, and they found a way to learn the pasuk? They were able to read it and make sense of it. Oh, this has to be, what? And they don't have the Torah. They have a literal translation with a few changes, by the way. And now they're telling you how to darshan a pasuk? What it must be? Seriously? That's what Christianity is saying. That's their proofs. And if you actually go after their proofs, the psukim that they bring, if you look at the whole context, none of them make any sense. None of them. Oh, a child will be born. See? It must be Jesus. Look for you, and then he was born, and he was a king, and he lived for X amount of years, and he died. What? None of them make any sense. When you the answer is right there when you look. Yeah.
Isn't that exactly what Chazal does, though, the darshan the pasuk?
With rules, yes. Yud Gimel Midos Torah Nidreshes Bahem with a Masorah, sure. It's not just an inference. It all has to be within context, or when we do a drasha, there's a Masorah actually how it goes. No question about it. But they don't have that. They're telling you do it from the literal text. From all these translations. They can't even tell you what color tefillin are, or what's supposed to be in them. And now they're telling you, they have nothing. Try and get a guy to learn Gemara, come on. Seriously, it's very hard to learn Gemara. It's worth it, but it's hard. Okay, different speech. Okay, so here we go. We have everything. Yes. So we have the rules. Great. By the way, Lawrence Kellerman, when he was done comparing all the religions, so none of them had any basis. So he said, I'm a Jew, let me just do it. He saw how different it was. Our origin story is that God, even if you say it's not true, the claim, our nation, our ancestors, this is the claim. With prophesized miracles. I know you're going to find, there was once some place with locusts, and they also had a flood. Prophesized miracles beforehand. Moshe says this is going to happen. And they happened. Within another nation, we're saved from them, and then God speaks to all of us, not in the form of man, from fire, it's very clear, by Har Sinai. That's our origin story. True or not true, that's the story. Why is it so different than theirs, if they're all lies? If they're all lies, why did they have to build, half the world's religions, have to build their whole thing that we had, Torah Sinai? The only people that don't believe the Torah was given by Sinai are non-religious Jews. Well, yeah, there's a consequence to it. But all the Christians do, all the Muslims do. Yeah?
Well, it's not necessarily our origin story because we have Adam, we have Noah.
No, I'm saying, the point where God spoke to us and said, this is I want for the Jews, yeah, you can say gracious. B'shvil Yisrael, B'shvil Torah, I'm with you. But the origin story, when I talk about the origin, I mean the time when there was divine revelation telling us what to do.
So what's the need for the whole first book of the Torah?
Yeah. Again, now we get to Masorah. If the Torah is true, right? If Hashem gave the Torah, He's now giving us a backstory. But that's not what got us to believe. That's not what connected us to God. That's now God's telling us, this is what happened, this is what will happen, this is what the way to happiness, this is the way to Olam Haba, this is what's good for you. The origin story is about that point of contact between the divine and us. That's our story. And everything else is what comes from that. So, here we go. We're ready for the proof now? It's crazy how different Yiddishkeit is. The real Masorah is, all the mitzvahs that are based on these events from the beginning. How hard would it be for someone to get a group to believe a lie is impossible. He went through experiments of it. You can get a group to believe something happened to me. You can get a group to believe that the alien spoke to me from the spaceship. And now listen to what he said. But to say an event happened to a group, that's why they didn't do it. Psychologically, you can't do it. You can't get it. I can't right now. I could tell you, what happened 5 minutes ago? Somebody came in here, and he gave you a quick, tapped everybody on the head and ran out. And then, that's what or it happened to your parents. And you wouldn't know about it. And all these mitzvahs that are based on it for all these years. It's impossible to do, which is why none of the other religions did it, which is why half the population of the world, all the big only base it on us. If it's all a lie, how is it that this lie was able to work and no one else? It's a little ink. So write it down. God spoke to me. That's some creativity. Jesus, God spoke to me, Peter, Muhammad, in front of 100 people and spoke to all of them and gave them what? Why couldn't he do that? What? A whole nation. That's our story. If it's all a lie, why does the thousands of religions, no one else do it? And by the way, I put up a website. I have years ago when there was a thing called crowdsourcing to ask anybody have before you could be the AI. Now use the AI. Does anybody have any other religion that has such a claim of mass revelation to the nation and they pass it down? It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. That's nuts. Okay, that by itself should wake us up, but that's not the proof. Okay, so now for the proof. Here's the proof. Ready? Wake up the guy next to you if he's sleeping. Enjoy yourselves. The proof. Here we go. Thank you, Isaiah. How did he do it? Let's say it's all a lie. On the side that it's a lie. Remember, two options. It's either God or it's a liar. Liars. How did he do it? No one else could do it. You would think if we can get you or your ancestors to believe about you or your ancestors that these things happen. Yetzias Mitzrayim, Torah Sinai, Revelation. How did he do it? No one else could do it. And the answer is, I don't care. Shrooms. Thank you, Isaiah. Shrooms, that's how he did it. He somehow got some tribe who somehow escaped from Egypt, got them all, will give you lunch, got them all on shrooms, hypnotized them, got them all, remember the plagues, right? And your ancestors, Abraham, Yitzchak, all the stories that you know, and God spoke to you or your ancestors, and the Torah says you'll never forget it, but you forgot it, and now you remembered it. What? Right? Okay. But it doesn't matter. Technology. He got everybody to mind control, took technology, and got everybody, hey, AI, here we go. Got everybody to, we could have done better. We were short on time. Yeah. Got everybody, technology, put up speakers, booms, thunder, lightning, went back in time. Okay. He found a way to do it, to get people to believe that something happened to them or their ancestors. He pulled it off. Okay, I don't care how he did it. It doesn't make any sense psychologically. It's why none of the other religions could pull it off. It's why you can't get people to do it. But somehow he did. Okay, fine. No problem. So here's the proof. And here we go. If the author of the Torah was a liar, and he knows these things never happened, he ostensibly wants people to believe this. Would he stake the credibility of the entire religion on a claim that no one else would do what he just did? Is that reasonable? He's the one guy in the world that knows that you can get a group of people to believe something happened to them or their ancestors that never happened. Something big, something supernatural. You can't get them to do something natural. Get a group of people to think that they were involved in anything. You can't. That's just a cycle. They have studies. You can't do it, which is why no one does it. And yet, this guy pulled it off. So if he knows it can be done, is it reasonable that he would stake the truth of his whole religion on the fact that no one in all of history will ever pull off what he just did? Is that reasonable? Now, remember in the beginning when I told you it would be real nice if I can give you a note from God? Yeah, it was a setup. Here, pass these out. A note from God personally to you from then. Take a minute. Pass them out, please. Take a minute and peruse them. This is Dvarim Perek Daled. You will find it in the King James Bible, exactly like this. You will find it by the Shomronim, the Samaritans, just like this. You will find it every place. There's a Chamisha Chumsha Torah, whatever version you want, out of the hands of the rabbis for thousands of years. Prophecy about the end of days. Everyone have one? Take a look. We're good? Says the Torah, thousands of years ago, says the writer of the Torah, it's going to come to the end of days. You're going to be thrown out, and you're going to be seeking God. And you're going to need strength. So at the end of days, ask yourself 2 questions. Ask your parents, look around, do research. Has there ever been any nation in all of history that ever makes the claim that God saved them with prophesied miracles from within another nation witnessing everything and experiencing everything? Has there ever been a nation that claimed that a God without a human form, in the form of fire, it's in the Psukim, thousands of years ago, spoke to them, an entire nation, not a few swooning women, not a couple of soldiers who felt things, an entire nation, millions of people? That's our claim. If it's a lie, the writer of the Torah predicts that in thousands of years you'll be able to look back in time and get strength from the fact that there's no other nation that ever existed. Not just a little religion of a few people in the street corner selling flowers. Nation that claims what we claim. So first of all, just that by itself, that the Torah predicts that, is unbelievable. And that it's absolutely true. Do your own research. Don't take my word for it. Have fun. But besides for the fact that that's true, does it make sense that this person who knows the lie and knows it can be done will claim that no one else is ever going to do what he just did? Why would he put that in the Torah? Is there any reasonable, logical explanation for somebody to make the entire authenticity of his Torah, of what he's trying to sell people, happened on a claim that he knows is a lie, that anybody else can fabricate tomorrow, that he knows can be done? He said, if anybody else does what I just did, I know it can be done. Shrooms, I don't know how he did it. Over the years, some tribe, someone else will do what he just did. Is that reasonable? So now you have a message here from the Rebbeinu Shalom, from thousands of years ago, talking to you in this room at the end of days, who are looking for strength. And it says there, if you're looking for the truth, v'yadata, you will know. That's the pasuk we say in Aleinu. And it will bring you back to Hashem. So the real question is, are you looking for the truth? But the prophecy is clear, and it's about you. So now, questions? I'll get the setup. I'm only asking one question. You can ask me questions later. It's very late. Okay. All right. Good. Lots of good examples. Well, if the truth is so clear, proves from before. We'll see with science speech later. If it's so clear, how come? It should be so simple. That's it is. All you got to do is look for the truth, and you can find it. Okay. So let's give an example, and that's how we're going to end. Okay. How many people have done a 1,000-piece puzzle? Oh, get a life. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, they only sell them for people who keep Shabbos. That's why there's board games, right? Yeah, so you do a 1,000-piece puzzle. Okay, how do you do it? Okay, we do the edges first, right? What's the next thing you do? You pick an object. You pick a tree, you pick something, you work on it. Now you work on this, you're doing 50 pieces in, and there's a piece missing. There we go. A cute little otter. How long are you going to spend looking in the box for your missing piece? However long it takes, right? Right? Unless you have Yossi. My grandson Yossi. That's not him. I'm afraid of Ein Hara. That's a random kid from the internet. Just for the way. Oh, it is? There you go. I've been using her for years then. Anyway, if you have Yossi, there's a good solid chance that when you weren't looking, the piece that you're missing, he ate. Or flushed down the toilet. So how long are you to look now? You go to the store, you're buying it, and they say, by the way, all these puzzles here, they're half off, they're all missing a piece or two. So how long do you look for it? You don't take it seriously. We're living in a world where everyone tells you with a straight face. Basil Sham says, Olam Choshech. This is how the Rebbe creates free will. Everyone's telling you, there's nothing to it, there's no one there. More than half the world belongs to religions that say, this happened, believes Judaism is true, and then some ridiculous story how it changed, against everything it says in the Torah. And now everyone's telling you, this is, with a straight face. All the scientists who care about truth, we're not going to go into it. You're going through COVID. We see that the truth, when the scientist goes, and don't give me the warning again. When a scientist goes, and they say, we can't test for divinity, so they just knock it off to the side. They say, we're not considering it as a possibility. We'll consider multiverse. We'll consider the most ridiculous things. But they're not even considering it. So now you can't prove it because it's not a possibility, because we can't test for it. It's so ridiculous. It's a religion, really. It's a religious point of view, that's for sure. Atheism. That's for the next speech on Wednesday. People are not going to look for something that they don't think is there. So if you don't take it seriously, that there's a possibility that maybe some of this stuff you never knew before, you were fooled, you were making assumptions, at least take this as now go on your own journey, do your research, drive the rabbis crazy, ask your questions. But do not just make assumptions that everything that's told to you, this is the way it is. Come on. The truth has to be discernible. It's there for you. And you got to believe in yourselves and believe that in the Rabbanu Shalom. The reason this is the greatest proof to me from all the proofs is because the Torah says it is. So they're all good, but use it as a stepping stone. Our real Masorah is our nation passing on everything with all the mitzvahs that are based on these events from the beginning. That's what we're about, not a single of individuals telling you or a small group telling you this is what happened. So guys, be proud of it. Be proud of your heritage. Talk about the Rabbanu Shalom. Question it. Bring it out. That's what it's all about. Think. And as the pasuk says, if you do that, you're looking for the truth. Hashem's going to give you Siyat Shmaya, give us all Siyat Shmaya, and we're going to come back to Him in the right way. Yeah.
I heard you fought AI.
I did fight AI. You can manipulate it, but what I found was last week, I used to use AI recently because you want to check some of the things. Are there any other possibilities? Yeah, there was some guy in India that they say he spoke to our nation. I finished. He asked a question. And it's not. Thanks. I did. Anyway, what time is it? Oh my goodness, I am in big trouble. Yeah, it used to be 45 minutes. It adds a lot. So anyway, yeah, what I was saying. So I used to do it, but most of them, as soon as you touch religion, they say, "Oh, we can not talk about religion because you have to respect everybody's religion." And then last week, the Chinese AI came out, which is biased against, you can't ask about Chinese government, but they think all religion is a lie. And it let me go straight through. No, just like anything. No, of course not. Let's go through the numbers, and you bring it all up. You bring it up to percentages, and it's true, whatever. Now you can manipulate it. It's not, but you can get past the barriers that the other AIs have. So it's a lot of fun. Building up, he puts all the little arguments. Wasn't this, but just to find, are there any other origin stories? Stuff like that. Or other spiritual things and putting it together. Both Torah Sinai and the Exodus, and it's so part of the Torah that it can't be that you got a group of people to believe that it happened, and mitzvah since then doesn't make sense. Good, everyone. I apologize to your Rebbeim. Drive them crazy. With respect. Kol tov.